place to live in a city that doesn't seem to want you. Imagine that you're a young, excited couple, really pumped to build your first home before you realise that it's going to run you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Imagine that you have a young family, but no room to grow. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sean Crouch, this is Stackademics, and we are here to make your dreams come true. Stackademics connects people with high quality, affordable, portable homes for rent or for buying. Do you need some cheap office space? Stackademics. Do you need a temporary bedroom for your son to finish year 12 before you kick him out for good? Stackademics. Do you think that you have space for a granny flat, but you're not sure that you want to put down $125,000 before you find out that you really don't like being a landlord? Stackademics has you covered. Stackademics offer a huge variety of transportable structures that are heavily customizable, meaning that we can meet your needs. Stackademics' light structures have already achieved wild success in all corners of the globe. In America, Starbucks has a coffee shop based on this model. We are proud to bring the future to Australia. In our illustrious 44-hour history, we have already reached two people who are willing to spend serious money with Stackademics. I want to talk about David. David is a regular Joe with a regular job. He has some land, but when he found out that it would cost him $200,000 to build a house on that piece of land, he didn't know what to do. Luckily, he heard about Stackademics, and we can set him up with a house for $30,000. The second customer of ours is a man you may know called Sasha. Sasha is a business owner looking to expand his offices. Thanks to Stackademics, he can have his own cheap, easily transportable office for less than $30,000 also. Guess who's building Boss Academy's new HQ? These guys. Because we think we're onto a winning idea, we are going to promote the Jesus out of it. We will promote broadly on social media because, come on, who doesn't these days? But we're also going to appeal directly to the landowners, the people that we feel can benefit the most from our product. And we believe that once this idea gains some traction, it will run around the world. Because, I mean, look at this. Would you want to live there? I would. With regards to revenue, we're excited to say that we can ship these out from the manufacturer to Adelaide for less than $10,000. And our plan is to make money through rental and outright sale. The numbers, preliminary market research indicates that we could rent out our cheapest model for around about $3,000 a year. And as we get a little bit more expensive, we can rent them out for up to $5,000. If we want to sell them outright, market research indicates that people are willing to pay between $18,000 and $30,000 per unit, depending on the quality of the unit. So the question's been posed to us a million times. Why Stackademics? Why not dongas? Or brick and mortar houses? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to tell you that neither of those products directly compare to ours, but neither of them can even touch it. Let's start with brick and mortar houses, and I want to go back to a conversation I had with a landowner. Let's call him Sasha, because his name is Sasha. He has a growing family, and he wants to grow his house with that. He went to a local builder and he said, listen, I need 2 more bedrooms and an extra bathroom. What can you do for that? The builder looked him dead in the eye and said, $120,000. Ladies and gentlemen, if he came to us, we'd tell him $30,000 for 2 extra bedrooms and 2 extra bathrooms. So why not dongas? Ladies and gentlemen, when you were younger, when you were little kids, did you look at those beautiful pieces of real estate and say, when I grow up, I want to live in a donga? Our product has a sexiness, an aesthetic that dongas can't hope to touch. On top of that, can we just tick back to the end? Yeah. On top of that, these are all based on shipping containers. Shipping containers are by definition easily transportable. The fact that they are temporary structures as opposed to permanent structures will also help immensely when we're talking with local councils and local governments seeking approval for these buildings. There you have it, folks. Opening the floor to questions.
First question, how long is it going to take you to get councils to approve them?
I can answer this question. Basically, by definition, this is movable structure. According to, we've done this research, according to Building Code of Australia, movable structures do not, in general, do not require council approvals. You can consult with them, but in general, if a structure is not going to be sitting on the spot for more than 36 months and could be moved on request, it does require council permit, as I said, in general.
But there's a lot more involved in moving that than would be a caravan. You've got the plumbing and everything else about it.
Absolutely, but would you prefer to do it in a caravan or in a room?
I'm not arguing that. What I'm talking about is approvals. And if you knew our council, and if you knew most of the councils in Adelaide, you'd know that they'd be on the doorstep after about 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely. These questions could be resolved. Basically, this is movable structure and it could be built quickly without permits. If you want to have it for more than that, you can consult with the councils and get approval. It's possible.
If I could add on to that very quickly, one of the benefits of these is they're highly customizable. That means that we can work with councils a lot more readily than many of our competitors, meaning that we are more likely to get approval. Sometimes it just won't happen. We accept that. That's part of the business. But we can work with councils, and we are set up to deal with that.
I don't think you need to sell anyone on shipping container conversions because it's red hot at the moment. The tiny house building is red hot. The recycling of it. I mean, just go on social media one day and I'll see 15. And then the cool thing is, why aren't you pitching yourself as a shipping container recycler and converter? Why are you talking manufacturing? This kind of housing industry exists, mining industry, etc. This sort of I think sort of cooler version of kit homes, but any of you builders?
I'm a student. This idea originally started as cheap accommodation for students until we realised that students don't have any money.
A shipping container conversion company, bang, red hot, why not make it simple?
Or possibly, but do you know how expensive labour in Australia? So one of our options is to bring them from overseas, where we can build for affordable money, right? And convert to Australian standards here, because obviously if you buy them in, you know where, bring them to Australia, it's going to be quarter of the price, but they won't comply with this area, right? You need to spend a little bit more money, but they're still going to be below.
Well done.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Alex from
Barkmate.
Take it away.
David and Lisa just arrived at the show with their family. They had an easy time getting here, right? Wrong. They spent 2 hours searching for a park. This is all the problem we have, right? Half an hour later, screaming in anger, can't find a park anywhere. Along comes Greg. Steps out of his driveway. Hey, you looking for a park, mate? We are Parkmate. And we provide, for people like David and Lisa, we provide convenient, safe parking, and for people like Greg, we can earn him up to $3,000 a year, providing safely and easily parking. We're combining the best bits of the business models from Airbnb and Uber. From Airbnb, we're taking the utilization of an unutilized asset, the driveway, and from Uber, we're taking the location-based, real-time, on-demand service. Next up, market validation. We hit the streets this weekend. We talked to 60 people. 96% of them had trouble finding a park. These are some of the places they had trouble finding. City, events, work, school, basically anywhere there's traffic, there's trouble parking. 80% would also consider renting out their park to a stranger, and 85% would use someone else's park as someone else's driveway as their own park. Some of the concerns we had raised were things like security, convenience, and trust. However, using an Uber-style verification method for the users, we plan to completely avoid this. You know, people will be vetted There'll be a review system after the transaction. People will rate each other. Easy. As for competition, we actually signed up to our biggest competitor, contacted 3 people for a park within the hour. 7 hours later, the first one got back to us. Still haven't heard from the other 2. So obviously, our competitor is in for long-term booking with at least a day's notice, and all of their parks are for buying them for an entire day or an entire week, even an entire month. We, on the other hand, are going to go for real-time, on-demand, whip out your phone, that's it, you get a park. So this is how it works. Design, simple as possible, whipped up some quick wireframes. Sign in, details, you provide your credit card details at the very start so that when payment time comes, it's a one-click transaction. Straight, either looking for a parkmate or listing a parkmate. This is the looking for a parkmate screen. It's location-based. You can select which park you want. You can check straight in. And also, we're not having any confirmation, as just by listing your park, you are saying that whenever you've listed these times, you're happy for it to be used. There's no confirmation on the renter's side, on the driveway's side, so that you don't have to wait for that confirmation to come back. You can just drive straight in after you pay. This is the listing screen, photo, prices, location. This is the setting availability screen. Easy. As to pricing, we also drew this from our survey. $25 a day with a standard pricing. While we were in Goodwood, we actually found 2 people who were already doing $35 per day pricing for events like the show and exams around the Adelaide showgrounds. Of course, we'd also use surge pricing, so that, similar to Uber, so the closer you park, the more you pay. And users naturally pick their own prices for their own driveways. How we make money? Just take a 20% clip from the transactions. This is our rough financial model. We'll break even by year 2 with a potential for $2.7 million profit by year 5. Now, that's a big number. How we're going to get there is through this market. Collaborative consumption is an expanding market, expanding rapidly. By 2025, it's going to hit $335 billion. On top of that, there's a $1.9 billion parking industry revenue within Australia. So we have these 3 main elements of growth. We're going to hit parking space critical mass once we hit the supply side. That'll give us the critical mass to then supply all these driveways, people who need them on demand like that. Then we're going to ramp up the user volumes primarily through partnerships. Specifically, things like national and global auto clubs. The RAA, they have 660,000 members in SA alone, and there are 7 million members of auto clubs Australia-wide. Event organisers too, Clipsal, Adelaide Show, Footy, all these people, maybe a discount on your ticket if you sign up for our service. So, we are Parkmate. Looking for a Parkmate?
So 9 years when driverless cars are quite permanent, what would you change to?
So we actually talked about this. So autonomous vehicles, they're probably going to need to stop somewhere. They're not going to return to base. They're not going to drive around the block waiting you to finish doing what you're doing. So the service could be applicable as well in that scenario.
Maybe there's digital chauffeur, you can park 5 minutes away, come get me, picks you up. Any other questions?
Have you thought about, in terms of where demand to live high in city spaces, the limited number of parking spaces available, in terms of driveways and that more organic kind of?
Yeah, that is an element considered. We're focusing more on events where there's specific time-based demand surges. So Clipsal, Adelaide Show, the Footy, certain areas where people with more driveways around residential are able to then list their driveways and charge good prices for prices that both parties are happy with.
I don't think we're ever going to solve the complete parking problems, but I guess if we can untap some underutilised assets, which is the concept of collaborative consumption, then that just adds to more supply of stock. So.
The competitors apps that you tried, that you just seem to be focused on, were they all domestic or were they?
Yeah,
What were the apps?
The one main competitor was domestic. Yeah, Melbourne based.
So I think this is already got quite a bit of traction in the US, for instance.
Yeah, well, I'll name the competitors' websites. Part-Hound. Well, when we started with this idea, we had no idea that there was a business like that. So obviously they're not reaching the target market. Did you know?
Well,
have you heard of them at all?
Yeah.
Part-Hound, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
they're approaching 2 years old, and they don't seem to have gained that much traction. They have 64 parks in Adelaide, and sort of 3,000 Australia-wide. So we think there's definitely potential there to overtake based on execution, and especially those partnerships with the clubs. Location-based, the on-demand, Uber style, really simple, really quick.
How many do they have globally?
I kind of Australia only.
Australia, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's
3,000.
Australian.
Did you explore any international?
Did you find that?
Yeah, the one.
Oh, there's a Park Circa as well from America.
But they
Yeah,
don't.
but that was
that's
it.
just beta.
Yeah, that was in beta, so that wasn't up and running. So
Yeah.
that particular one wasn't.